Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm Jen, by the way. In today's video, I want to talk about some of the things that I think you should consider before moving abroad. I think these are things that I didn't intentionally consider, but have come to find out through my own experiences and talking with others that these are things that you definitely want to consider to have the most successful, smooth, efficient move abroad as possible. And it really applies to any country that you're moving to. I don't think this is if you're just moving to Panama type of advice. So hopefully this helps you in your process of deciding to make this major move. Okay, so the very first thing that I want you to consider in your move abroad is, what kind of support do I have? I want you to ask the question, what does my emotional support look like? So for me, I realized pretty early on that the emotional support that I got really was the extra oomph that I needed to make the move. I think if you're somebody who's thinking about moving abroad, you already have a fire in you, a adventurous spirit in you to do something new, and that in itself will take you a long way. But when you have friends and family who say, I got you, I'm looking out for you, who are curious and inquisitive about the journey, I think that makes your journey so much more empowering, and you feel so much more comfortable doing what you're about to do. When you think about, I'm gonna go somewhere else, and when I land, I'm leaving people behind who actually want to know what my well-being is like in a new country. Versus if you get negative statements and energy from family, friends, it can make it pretty hard for you to make the final jump. You know, there may be guilt associated with that, other heavy emotions that can make it feel like more of a bad decision than an empowering or enlightening decision. It may not deter you, but it can impact how you really step out into this new country once you land. I mean, imagine you land to a new country and you're going into it with thoughts going through your mind that are making you question things, making you feel like you didn't make the right decision, and ultimately affecting how you show up in this new space. And I wholeheartedly believe having that emotional support makes you transition a lot smoother, because you go into it feeling joy, feeling curiosity, feeling an openness to what you're about to get into. And you need all of that for your journey to be smooth. And we'll talk about that later. But yeah, it's so important to make sure that you have just a few people who are in your corner, who are rooting for you on this journey. It doesn't mean that they don't have, appropriate questions or aren't concerned, but they are actually rooting for you. That, I feel, makes such a huge difference in really jumping into the journey. The second type of support that I want you to consider is financial support. I don't know how one can go into such a major move and not feel financially supported, either personally or having someone else to help you out in case of anything. Honestly, I feel like having at least 6 months worth of living expenses makes it so much easier to jump into this journey, knowing that if anything, you'll be able to take care of yourself. The cost of living, more than likely, of the new country you're going to will be less than where you're coming from, because I think that's one of the biggest reasons why people move. So if you can get yourself to save even 4 months of living expenses in that new country, I think that would give you so much more security to know that whatever happens, you'll be okay. Because I know that, for some people, what's holding them back from making the move is finding a job. And I totally understand that. It's scary to think of going somewhere else with no job. However, if you do choose to do it without a job, which a lot of people do because there are opportunities that can open up in a new country, I think just have that financial support there. And maybe it's somebody else who is willing to back you up, say something goes wrong in that time. But if you're coming in without a job and you're trying to do something new, whether it's open up a business or find a job in the new country, and you just want to think about, how am I going to survive in the time that it takes to get my footing? Because I feel like generally it could take between 4 to 6 months to get your footing in a country and like establish yourself and start working. In that time, you may not fully establish yourself in terms of like building all of your community and knowing all the things you need to know. But as far as like, I need to get in and get myself going and making income, I think you could do it in that time frame. So just make sure you have that financial support in that time frame, and I think you'll be good. The second question I want you to ask yourself is, how will I build community in this new country? I personally did not intentionally think about this, but once I started living in Panama, I realized how important community was, like how important it was. I'm not gonna lie to you. I went into the move thinking I'm just going to live my life. I don't know if I'm gonna make friends. I don't know what that's gonna look like, but I'm just gonna go into it. But I realize now that had I not made a community, my experience in Panama would have been so different. There's so much of a possibility of loneliness, isolation, withdrawal that can happen when you move into a place where you know no one. And possibly there's a language barrier that can make it so difficult. So to really prevent that from happening and that possibly altering your experience and even making you want to move back, I think it's important to think about, how am I going to build community? How am I going to make sure that not only am I supported back home, but I'm also supported in this country? Think about, what Facebook groups can I join? I promise you there's a Facebook group for anything you can think of. Facebook is good for that. Like, if you are an expat in general, if you just Google or look in Facebook for expat in X country, you'll find a group. Black expat in whatever country, you'll find a group. Black expat who plays tennis, you'll find a group. Find your people in a Facebook group. I promise you, you'll have so many options. That's just a good way to start from scratch as far as building community that hopefully can start online and move to in person, right? Like, these are people who are also abroad in your area that you can hopefully safely meet up with and build, friendship, connection, or more. Secondly, think about hobbies that you can do. Like, what are some of the things that you already like doing that you can join some type of community in that new country and make connections there? That is an easy way to make organic connections. Like, if you like to ride bikes, more than likely there will be a group that likes to ride bikes in the country that you're in. I know, like, Panama has so many different types of groups for different type of people, so you can find your place to fit in. You just have to know what it is that you want to do. Maybe you don't have a hobby right now and you want to start a new one. Perfect opportunity to start a new hobby and also meet new people in the place that you're in. But I really, really do feel like that is a great way to get your footing and also meet like-minded people that you can be around and call on, depending on different situations. I mean, you might just want to have a buddy that you can go to brunch with. You might want to have another buddy that is like a mentor that like helps you with navigating the country that you're in. I feel like that's a good thing to have. Like just somebody who's been in the country a little bit longer than you, who knows all the things, all the places, all the connections. That's a good person to have. And then someone also that you can count on, like say you get sick. Like y'all, being sick, living alone is one thing. Being sick, living alone in another country where you may not know anybody yet is horrifying. Like that, there's nothing fun about that. So I feel like those are the three types of people you want to have in your new community. One, like, this is my buddy that I can just grab lunch with whenever they're down for that. Two, a mentor that has been doing this living abroad thing for a while, especially in this country, and knows how to get around and knows the connections for you to find resources. And third, a person that can just be your check-in buddy. If anything, you guys check on each other to make sure that you're good and that you are not alone just in case something happens. If you got those three, I think that will be the community that you need that will make your move so much more peaceful. And my last and final question that I feel like you should ask yourself is, can I pivot? Because let me tell you something. The way that I have had to pivot moving out here, while I will say overall, I'm so grateful. I feel like my move has been so smooth. I took the time to research. I took my time, picking where I wanted to live, building my community. But there's been hiccups here and there where I've had to pivot, where I thought this is what it was gonna be, and then it wasn't. Like, I for sure, before I came, I thought that I was going to be living in a beach town. And when I came out here and actually spent some time in a beach town that I thought I was going to live in, I was disappointed. I did not like the area in the way that I thought. Like, I liked it to relax and chill, but to live in, I just didn't feel comfortable. So I was like, man, I won't be able to live this life where I could just walk onto the beach. But I pivoted and I said, okay, that's fine. What does Panama City have to offer, and what would that look like? And here I am now, living in Panama City. So love it. And when I want to go to the beach, I just go on the weekends, take a quick drive and go to the beach and enjoy myself for the day or the entire weekend if I want. But I still am getting the living abroad experience that I wanted. Everything is still I'm so happy about it, even though I didn't get the living on the beach, waking up to water sounds, but I pivoted. There are other things that came up in the moving process that I had to pivot. There are other things that came up while living in my apartment that I had to pivot. But if I didn't, and if I was just so stuck on what happened, then I would have gotten just made it so much harder on myself because I didn't give myself the opportunity to work through that experience. So I'm just so grateful that I pivoted. And I really think that you have to just go into the moving process thinking about, can I pivot? If I cannot pivot, then should I be doing this? Do I want to put that type of stress on myself? Because honestly, it is very stressful when things don't go your way. And if that stress gets bad enough, then it can make it hard for you to really focus on what it is that you came for. Do you still have the motivation to get that job that you're trying to go for? Do you still have the energy to start that business? Do you even want to connect with people because you're stressed and things just changed? So yeah, I think if you really want to prevent your journey from being totally, interrupted or unsettling, you have to be able to pivot. Now there are some major things that, may happen that you know, can be connected to like a major health issue or something like that, or safety, that I can understand that you know, choose not to continue with the journey. And hopefully that's not something that ever happens. But again, like there are things that come up, whether it's, you know, in trying to figure out living situation things, or having to go get a checkup, just things that happen when you're immersing yourself in a new space, that you really have to be able to pivot so you don't let it get you down. Struggles with language can come up, and that can be quite frustrating when you want to get things done. I know it has been for me, but I've pivoted and I'm still here, and I'm so grateful that I did not stop this journey and, you know, halt everything because of things that came up. So yeah, in conclusion, I feel like those are the things that you need to consider. These are the things that I talk about in my consultations when I am helping people considering their move to Panama. So if this is something that you want to talk about more, you can book a consultation with me using the link in my description. But if you have any questions based on what I just said, make sure to drop it down below and let me know. Like, have you considered this move abroad? And, you know, what are your thoughts? Like, do you think that you have thought about these questions, or are there other questions that you feel like you need to consider before you can make the move? So thank you so much for tuning into today's video, and I look forward to speaking to you all in the next one. Bye.